Now I'm going to animate this non-script lettering text. So I'm just going to go in, same as I did with the script lettering, and go to Add and Trim Paths. And I'm going to toggle down, and I'm going to try to make all of the letters animate at about the same speed. So if you think about the distance your pencil would have to travel if you were actually writing these letters, you can see that the A kind of has like 2 segments, and then the N would have 3 segments, and then the I would have 1. So I'm going to try to time that out accordingly in the animation. So for the A, since it has 2 segments, let's just make it easy and use these time code guides. So I'll make 2 segments be 10 frames, 1 segment will be 5 frames. So I'll just hit the end stopwatch to create a keyframe for 100% at the end value. Then I'll go back to 0 and bring this down to 0. So now the A is animating in. Then I'm going to animate the cross of the A. So I'm just going to copy this trim path. So Command C and then select the crossbar and hit Command V. And then if I hit U on my keyboard, it'll show me any keyframes I have set for this layer. So that's the ones that I just pasted. So this A crossbar is really short. So I'm just going to take this last keyframe and drag it to the left to make it a faster animation. And then where that leaves off, I'm going to start the N animation. So I'll just Command V, I still have that same trim path copied, hit U, and then I can see my keyframes. So let's just make this easy and start it at 15 frames. And this N has 3 segments, so I'm just going to bring this keyframe to the right to make it have 3 times 5 frames, so 15 frames. And then I'm just going to adjust this keyframe just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the I. Command V, hit U, and the I has 1 segment, so I'll just bring this so it takes 5 frames long. Same thing on the M. So let's say the M has 3 segments, so we'll make it 15 frames. And then the A, what I could do is just take this A and copy it, paste it, and move it over and onto this A. If I had like a very precise animation on the first A that I did, and I don't want to try to replicate that on the second one, but this is pretty straightforward, so I'm just gonna Command V to paste the keyframes, Command V again to paste those keyframes, and make that a little faster. And then I'll just keep going with that. All right, let's just see what this looks like. So remember, if any of your letters are going the wrong way, you can just go in. So say I wanted this D to go in the other direction. You can just go in and switch the direction of the path, and then it'll animate in the other way. I'm going to keep it how it was. All right, so if I just have no layer selected and I hit U on my keyboard, it'll bring up all the keyframes that I have on all of my layers. And then this little mountain slider thing down here, that lets you zoom in on your keyframe. So it just kind of expands your timeline. So I'm going to bring that all the way to the zoomed out end so that I can see everything on my timeline. And let's see, this takes a little over 3 seconds to animate in. I think it's a little bit slow. So maybe I want my animations to overlap a little bit. So what I can do is just go in and select both of the keyframes by clicking and dragging on top of them, and then I can just move them over a little bit. So maybe like that. Move these ones over. So making sure that the word is still going to animate on in the same order. So letters that are after A are not going to start before A. So I'm just making sure that I'm not bringing these ones too far to the left, but bringing them more overlapping. And there's no right or wrong way to do this. You could have your letters start from the inside out. You could have everything start at the top, everything start at the corner. You can do this however you want. Just play around with it and see what looks good to you. All right, let's take a look at that. Okay, it looks like my I and my M are a little too close. So let's see, that's gonna be this guy and this guy. So I'm just gonna take these keyframes back a little bit. And this one might be a little close too. And you can actually select keyframes from different layers at the same time. So if I click and drag over all of these keyframes, I can just move them all back at the same time. And you can always drag your playhead over your timeline to see it in slow motion.